Hello Marvel Heroes fans, my name is Wilfred Wong and welcome to my channel where you could see guides and videos on this free-to-play game called Marvel Heroes. Now first of all, a big thank you to my friend Pastor Prophet who submitted a question from a new player perspective on the power tree as well as the Startech power cube. So why not do a new guide for your new player, and this guide is called The Secret of Power Tree and the Startech Power Cube guide. In this video, I'd like to explain how power rank work in this particular game that we have, and how to gear beyond the rank 20 that you could allocate and make your hero more powerful. I'd like to share some experience when it comes to leveling as well as the end game, find the build that you would like to, even if you are not mathematically inclined or into theory crafting. There are ways really to find the build that works for you before you validate with the guides out there. And last but not the least, like to spend some time talking about Startech Power Cube, because a lot of you ask me which one should I be using and so on. For the seasoned player, welcome to stay on, and if you'd like to contribute and share your ideas as well, welcome to do so in the comment below, because some of the new players do read all these comments. Alright, so now when it comes to power points, in this game, as you level up, you gain power points to allocate to your power tree to make your hero more powerful. At level 60, you gain 150 points. That is the maximum points that you can allocate. But if you do some story mode and whatever listed here you could follow as well, you gain 12 extra points permanently to your hero. Even after you prestige, you got to keep them, as well as the 3 points from Limbo as well. So altogether is 165 points. So I'm going to toggle back to the game and show you what I really mean by that. Is that when it comes to this power tree, there are usually three power tree for all the heroes that we have. And by the way, this is not like a definitive guide for Kitty Pryde. I just finished my prestige to purple and I'm using her as an illustration. I'll do another guide on Kitty Pryde later. Alright, I haven't done any mathematics behind it yet. But the illustration here is that you could put 1 point in some of this power, or you could put 20 points max on some of this power. But what you have is basically the 162 points that you could have. In the old days, whenever you reset the powers, you need to pay a recon device. So some of you may have left the game for quite some time. Come back now, and good news, by the way, you could reset the power anytime you like without costing anything. The old recon device that you have become an archive items, whereby you can actually use it to exchange for something decent from clear in the Avenger Tower. So now when it comes to this whole power is that you can only rank up to 20, and after that, beyond which you have to use gear to rank it up. So for example, what I really mean by that is that if you put back all the gears, I'm going to show you, it will sort of like become more apparent to you why is it important, why the gear is important, why all this number is important. So after you put in a gear, the power that get affected by the gear has a green color to it. So 50 is the maximum. So you can see that quite a number of my power, for example, has a 50 to it. So that is the thing that you should aim to go for when you want your hero to be powerful, because all the ranks matter. So now I'm going to go back to my presentation, just talk a little bit about the power rank, because as I mentioned to you, 20 is max my allocation, but additionally you can get 30 by gear. So now how to get the 30, I'm going to show you how. And by the way, there's a total of 50, so you can rank all the way up to 50 and you can't go beyond 50. Alright, so anything beyond 50 is a waste. You can't go beyond that. So now, what are the means to increase the rank? So here are a list of here is a list of things that you could consider, and there may be more to this game, because as they add more itemization in this game, there are more possibility to rank up. So for example, the Cosmic Medallion could have the +2 to all rank. After that, the Cosmic Ring gives you another +1. Even Unique Ring you have a +1. Then the Pet you can have a +1 to all ranks. And after that, your 63, rank 63, grade 63 Unique, we have a whole number of all these ranks to it. Make sure you keep farming and get a very decent Unique, whereby it gives you a max power for all the power that matter to you. Now, if you upgrade the Unique from 63 to 66, you gain extra 1 rank to all the single power. So now, how do you do it? You need to collect commendation, and there's another video guide on the guides on hero commendation and so on and so forth to help you get the recipe to permanently increase all these unique grades for all your heroes. So it's relatively easy to get, but once you get it, you just pay credit to upgrade for all the heroes you need. So you don't need to keep farming all this commendation. Alright, so now that is the 66. When it comes to 69, it's even more powerful because you get +1 to single power and +1 to all the power trees or all the power. So anything that say if your unique item has +2 to all power, grade 69 become +3 to all power. So now suddenly all these numbers start to add in, and then certain artifact as well will give you +1 to all power. So for example, like the metasensory, that give you a +1 rank as well. But if you really need more, you could have something called Cosmic Team Insignia. If you really need more, you can have the God of Mischief rune word as well. Your target is to hit 50. Just a word of caution, not all the heroes' these unique design are wonderful because some are still in a very old design, dated design, whereby no matter how hard you try, it's very extremely hard for you to get to 50 rank. It is just what it is. So some heroes are well loved right now, but others will need more love. Alright, so now let me just go back to the game again to show you where are the slots I talk about. So when it comes to the medallion, this one, +2 to all power, there are some of these like +1 to all rank. These are from the artifact itself. And then the ring itself will give you a +1. All these artifacts so on will give you all these ranks below. So you can actually hold the Alt key to see how many ranks are being added up. Now, sometimes you don't need to go too crazy because if your hero is new or the review is new, most likely you can hit 50 with quite a good margin. So the pet itself also have a +1 to all power rank as well. So that is very good. In team insignia, so for example, let me see one of my beloved Psylocke. Okay, Psylocke for instance, or not Psylocke. Maybe Iceman. Okay, pick Iceman. Alright, so this one, for example, they have the +1 to all power as well because you can upgrade the insignia to a cosmic version. So there are other ways for you to get there. So if I go back to my Psylocke, by the way, so this is a God of Mischief rune words as well. Give me the +1 to all power, +1 to signature power, +1 to ultimate power. So that is all this various means for you to get to 50. So your goal is to, for all the main power that you use, like for instance, I use the main power, signature power, the layer, whatnot. So make sure you get all these things to 50 and you are in a very good shape because, the difference is quite a fair bit. Alright, so let me go back to my presentation here. So well, now it comes to the power point, right? The difference between the 1 point or max point is something like this. 1 point you gain the most, of course. Many guys say that, well, the power doesn't scale well. Well, of course it never scale well because when you get one point, the very first point, you gain like a good portion. Additional points, you get it incremental. So, it's like a 1/10 sometime of the power itself. So, you can add up to like 19, then you get a double or whatnot, or after that you keep adding on it, then you get more and more. But the first point is always the best because 1 point you get quite a big chunk of power that you have, and as you add it onto it, you get more. So the way I see is that if you have any passive power, at least put 1 point because with all your gear, with all this +1 here, +2 there, whatnot, then you get scaled up quite nicely. All right. From the active power, only allocate to those you use. But 1 point or max on certain active power, it depends on the power output as well as usefulness. Because I'm going to talk a little bit about it later, but you're likely to see that not all the power you need to have 20 point, but those 20 point power should matter. All right. So now when it comes to the 1 point, we call it 1 point wonders. All right. So in the old day, what we do is just put 1 point here, 1 point there, 1 point here, 1 point there. Right. So now things like dash or teleport or fast travel like Jean, those you probably just put 1 point and that's it. You don't need to think about it because that is all you need. You don't need to max it, but just 1 point it. Cloud Control Breaker is I'm a big fan of Cloud Control Breaker because when Doom smash the ground, you get stunned, or when Magneto jailed you, you get stunned, and then Pyro all fire upon you and so on. So it is important to break jail, right? Jail break, and that is a Cloud Control Breaker. That is something that I would like to just put 1 point to it. There are heroes like She-Hulk, like some of the hero that has an irresistible stun. Those I treasure because it helped me to control the places around me. So I like to have that as 1 point. Things like implosion as well. Just group the mob together. I may use it if you like Psylocke, if it helped me to control the ground a little bit rather than all the mobs are just scattered everywhere. All right. So now vulnerability debuff is another one that I'm likely to 1 point it because usually the power itself is not that powerful when it comes to all this, like, when you invest 20 points to it. So you always, my mindset is always like this, right? You always convert points into damage output if you can. Of course, you need something on the passive, on the health, on the defense, and so on and so forth. But ultimately, what your job is to convert points into power outputs. So if the power is not that competitive to other power, then you just put 1 point to it and beat. Because like I said before, 1 point gives you a very decent amount of benefit. But of course, the more you invest in it, the better it become. Not all the power are good at max. All right. So now. And the other thing that I'd like to share with you is that, okay, so if you are not into mathematics, if you are not into theory crafting, how do you know which power deserve 1 point or even no point? So from my experience, when it comes to power that give you stun utility, that give you weaken utility, or any utility that you can see that on your power there, usually those are not really that powerful, because you need to balance out, right? You can't really have a power that is really powerful and then also give you a very good stun and weakening or anything else like that. So like slow, weaken, stun, those usually are stay away. And bear in mind that boss cannot be slowed, they cannot be, they can be chilled, but they cannot be slow. So things like that you have to pay attention to. So I usually stay away from those if I could, but sometimes it just depends on the hero itself. Alright, so now when it comes to maximum power, like which one should you put 20 ranks to it? You should pick the main spender, or some people call it filler, the one that you keep spamming on your left button to attack. Those you should consider maxing them. Passive with a very attractive stats, like for instance, if you crit damage, give you damage rating, those things are very attractive. You should consider maxing them. And then some of the passive are like the health and so on. Now, if you are melee and if you play a lot of cosmic patrol and you feel that a little bit like a fragile, like my baseline is like this, right? I always say to people, how much health do you gear into a cosmic patrol is that, whenever I go in, even if a day where a lot of people or not a lot of people, I should not be defeated inside. I may make some mistake, get charged by Rhino because I couldn't see anything, but the trash mob or even the boss wave shouldn't kill a hero. So if you are being defeated on those scenarios, that will mean that you have to scale back on your DPS, but actually buff up your damage, buff up your defense, statistic like the health a little bit. So these are, leave it to you, whichever hero is, different hero are different. And then you should pick a good damage over time layer as well as good cooldown layer. Now the difference between damage over time and the cooldown are such. Damage over time usually are more resource efficient and also provide a higher DPS over time. The problem with damage over time is that some of them are like a dead zone, so when a mob move away, it will not be dealing damage. And then also the mob can die while taking all this damage, and all the rest of the damage over time things will not really affect the mob. So usually they sort of like balance out. With the cooldown though, cooldown is like whenever 8 seconds you bam whack it, and usually those are it's not as high DPS as a damage over time layer. Also is not a spirit or even resource efficient, but the mob will take in whatever that you hit them with on the cooldown. So that is the compensation between the two. Now, signature is, if you so decided to use signature, you should max it. Nowadays, in the past, we've seen signature there's a DPS loss. But I think as time goes by, Gazillion getting smarter in how to do all these things, perhaps, and signature become actually quite good to have. So I would recommend, don't 1 point a signature. I think you should consider maxing a signature, because signature, while may not have a good damage DPS in some heroes, it does have a pretty good burst when it comes to, say, cosmic terminal farming. All right. So now, when it comes to leveling, leveling always, you should try all the builds, all the power, because now you can reset the build without taking any cost to it. The cost in terms of recon device in the past. So you should really try all the powers and go crazy with the power with the area tech. So when it comes to leveling, the only thing that matters is area damage. Anything with area damage is good, because some heroes, you find it very fragile in the beginning of the career. It is because there's not enough area damage to it. Some hero, you find it very fun to start, right from the beginning because they have so tons of area damage, and you can very efficiently kill everything around you, and it helps while you're leveling. It helps you leveling faster as well. So when you see anything with the area attack, go for it. Forget about those end game guide that people build, because those are for end game. In leveling, it doesn't really matter about single target. All right. So now pick a basic power prior to level 25. But once you reach level 25, you could use something called a Euroforge item, and with that you can use something called Seer Brilliance rune words that give you spirit return or resource return as you collect orbs, like experience orb that you see plentiful while you're leveling. With that, you may consider doing basic list, picking a power whereby it's more powerful than a basic power but consume resources. Your choice. If you can't stay with this baseless build, don't stress yourself out, because during leveling, things are quite easy. Pick a basic, that's fine. Alright, and whenever the signature is available to you, max out, because it's really, really powerful for those who are leveling. Now, when it comes to end game though, okay, endgame is a little bit different. You have got to find the best spender or filler, the one that against a single target. Because when it comes to endgame, it's really about single target, be as raid, be as cosmic terminal, be as like even cosmic patrol while you are dealing with the boss that keep hitting you. Alright, so now that is very important. Find the best spender or filler, because there may be multitude of choices. You have to find your judgmental call, and if you could work out a number, do it. If not, then you just go by the testing or experience. Alright, so now pick good damage over time layer and cooldown layer as well, because like I said to you, not all the damage over time or cooldown layer could be useful or could be great, because every one of them will have animation, and animation is a cost to it. It's a hidden cost. Because when you have a lot of animation going on, it disrupts your spender or your filler. Alright, so your filler uptime is going down. Your filler is the best damage output power, by the way, and if you go down, that means that you are losing DPS by trying to have too many layers. So always look at those layers that really give you the best result. All right, so just pay attention to it. Also about the fluidity of the gameplay as well, because sometimes the gameplay become a bit clunky if you try to have too many layers, and then after that you need a hotbar dance, hockey dance, and stuff like that. You may or may not enjoy that kind of gameplay. So think about it before you really like going all out for damage, because sometimes you got to enjoy the game, like playing the game rather than just struggling to get the max DPS. I don't know, maybe it's a cup of tea. And always balance the time to kill versus the time to leave, because you can have the best damage over damage in the world, but if you are just a glass cannon that can't even survive like a trash mob, kind of in a cosmic patrol, there's no use, because your hero is just too fragile. You can't really be alive to do damage. So be careful when you pick all this passive. Don't go crazy too much on the time to kill, but also pay attention to the survivability as well. Alright, so now if you can theory craft. If not, then you do some dummy target testing in the training room. Go for the raid one or the high health one. See which one is better. Swap the power here and there and just experiment. Now, of course, always validate. So come to my channel, validate against my guide or any other guides out there as well. Doesn't really matter. But the most important thing is that you can figure out yourself which one is good for you, and after that you can validate and say, oh, okay, that is a good idea, or it doesn't really work for me. All right. So a lot of time build have to go with the gear as well, just hand in hand. Whatever build that you have selected, maybe you are going for a burn build or whatever build, make sure you have the gear that support it. So for example, you may want to go for unaware target build like Invisible Woman. Make sure you gear for it as well. So not just the build that's important, but all the gears and all the gameplay, everything else that come along. That's why I love this game so much. There's so many depth to it when it comes to building your hero. Now, the last part is about the Startech power cube, because what is going to happen is that your goal is to hit rank 50 on the powers that matter, because you can't hit rank 50 on everything that you selected, right? Because there's a limit on what you can do, right? But your goal is to do that, and the Startech power cube is to help you achieve that goal. Should you be constrained by whatever you have, you have to try your best to get the unique. You have to try your best to upgrade everything, gear everything with the +1, but you're still lacking of some. What should you do? Startech power cube is to help you fill up the gap. You cannot go beyond 50 anyway. So, and whatever power that you do not assign to that that main spender, most likely you can't put it anywhere else, because face it, whatever that is important to you, you'll max it, right? So, you know, the extra power that you could have saved on the power that with the power cube, you can't really recover that and use it on another power that matter. What you could use is using some power that doesn't matter, so it doesn't really matter, right? So don't stress on the starter power cube. Go for the gap itself. So you want to close the gap to 50, but don't stress yourself beyond that, all right? So now you have to prioritize your power. So what does that mean? Main spender is always the highest priority because they deliver the highest damage output for your entire suite of power you have. Things like that is important. Things like the layers, right? You know some layers that doesn't have any like stun or weakening or whatnot. Those layers are usually a very good layer. And those layers is also good to sort of like pump me up with the rank itself. So that is important. The passive that matter should rank it up as well. But everything else are not that important. So you must mentally be able to rank your power, to prioritize, and to know exactly what is important to you, right? With the whole suite of power itself, right? And the most obvious thing is that the cube go with the artifact. So in the event whereby you would like to recover, unbind the artifact and give it to another hero, that cube will go to another hero that will have no effect on another hero. So you would lose that cube for the hero that you have. Would that matter to you? May or may not, because the whole thing about unbinding things already, like, you know, you probably want to play another hero, right? So it may not matter so much, so don't stress about it. If you have the power cube, use it for the hero, and if you could close the gap, wonderful. If not, then just like farm and it may come your way, and that's about it. All right, so now thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope it's useful for the new players out there wanting to get into this game but a little bit overwhelmed with the whole power tree and all the points distributed and so on. So I'm hoping all these tips about leveling, tips about endgame build is important to you, is useful to you, and do ping me in game. If I'm not making video, I'm more than happy to play with you or chat with you, and check out other video in this channel as well, because I've got tons of guys there. In my description below, I've got a link back to my website. They have an updated list of all the guys that could be useful for you. And well, I mean, do drop me any questions and ideas for the next video and so on. Till the next time we see each other, goodbye.